When a suspect is arrested, most people think the story is almost over. In true crime, that is usually when the story becomes darker. Emily Carter was now in custody. Jake Carter's body had been found. The evidence was strong. But Detective Mark Wilson knew something important. People like Emily don't reveal their true selves easily. They reveal them slowly when pressure rises. Emily in custody. Emily Carter was placed in an interrogation room just after sunrise. The room was small, cold, designed to make people uncomfortable. Emily sat straight in her chair. Her hands were calm, her breathing steady. She didn't look like someone who had just been arrested for murder. She looked like someone preparing for a meeting. The first interview. Detectives began gently. They talked about the weather, about stress, about fear. Emily nodded. She spoke about love, about marriage, about feeling trapped. I was scared, she said. He pushed me. But every sentence was carefully chosen. She never cried. She never asked about Jake. That absence was loud. Mark's observation. Mark watched from behind the glass. In his career he had learned a pattern. Innocent people ask questions. Guilty people control conversations. Emily was doing the second. She redirected. She minimized. She justified. This wasn't shock. This was strategy. This wasn't shock. This was strategy. The psychological profile. A forensic psychologist was brought in. After reviewing the recordings, interviews, and Emily's behavior, the conclusion was clear. Emily showed strong signs of narcissistic control, emotional manipulation, fear of abandonment, extreme need for dominance. For Emily, Jake wasn't a partner. He was property, and property is not allowed to leave. Revisiting the past. Detectives began interviewing people from Emily's past. Old friends, former coworkers, even an ex-partner. A pattern emerged. Emily always needed control. One former boyfriend described it clearly. She didn't argue. She erased you. That sentence stayed with Mark. The insurance discovery. Then came another discovery. Emily had taken out a large life insurance policy on Jake. It was finalized just 2 months before his death. The amount was significant. Enough to change a life. Emily claimed it was normal planning. But timing matters. And this timing was deadly. Lucy's protection. Lucy Hernandez was placed under protective custody. She was terrified. She told police something she hadn't said before. Emily warned her. If you ever talk, I'll make sure you disappear too. Lucy believed her. Emily had power, money, connections. Fear kept Lucy silent. Until now. Emily's second interview. This time detectives confronted Emily with facts. The insurance policy. The recordings. The concrete. Emily's tone changed. She became cold. You think you understand me, she said. You don't. That was the moment the mask slipped. The slip. Emily said one thing she didn't realize mattered. I didn't plan for it to go that far. Detectives looked at each other. No one had mentioned planning. Emily froze. For the first time her calm broke. Mark's realization. Mark wrote one sentence in his notebook. This was never about survival. This was about control failing. Emily didn't kill Jake because she was afraid. She killed him because he was leaving. Closing of Part 7. In most murder cases, the evidence tells one story. But witnesses, they tell another. And sometimes, they almost don't tell it at all. For the Carter case, that witness was Lucy Hernandez. The weight of survival. Lucy had not slept properly in weeks. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the basement floor, the concrete, the smell, the silence. She had helped clean the blood. She had followed orders. Not because she wanted to, because she was afraid. Fear keeps people alive. But it also keeps them quiet. Protective custody. After Emily's arrest, police made a critical decision. Lucy was placed in protective custody, not because she was a criminal, but because she was valuable. Witnesses don't just testify in court. They survive until they do. Lucy's full statement. In a quiet interview room, Detective Mark Wilson sat across from Lucy. No pressure. No threats. Just time. Lucy finally told everything. She described Emily's behavior. After Jake collapsed, there was no screaming, no panic, only instructions. Get towels. Clean this. Don't ask questions. Emily wasn't acting like someone who had lost control. She was acting like someone who had regained it. The threat. Lucy revealed the threat. That kept her silent. Emily told her, "No one will believe you. And if you talk, I'll make sure you disappear too." Lucy believed her, because Emily had already proven what she was capable of. Psychological pressure. Behavioral experts reviewed Lucy's interview. Their conclusion was clear. Lucy was not an accomplice. She was a controlled witness. And control is a powerful weapon. Preparing for court. Prosecutors knew the case depended on Lucy. Without her testimony, Emily's defense could claim no eyewitness, no confession, circumstantial evidence. Lucy's voice was the bridge between suspicion and truth. Lucy's voice was the bridge between suspicion and truth. Emily's strategy. Meanwhile, Emily Carter was preparing her own story. Her defense team focused on one idea: paint Lucy as unreliable, young, scared, easily influenced. If Lucy broke on the stand, the case could collapse. Emily knew that, and she waited. The first court appearance. Lucy entered the courtroom quietly. She avoided looking at Emily, but Emily looked at her. Calm, unblinking. It wasn't hatred. It was ownership. Lucy felt her chest tighten. This was the moment Emily believed Lucy would finally break. Mark's intervention. Detective Wilson noticed Lucy's fear. He reminded her of one thing. Emily controlled you in that house. She doesn't control you here. Truth doesn't remove fear, but it gives it purpose. Lucy's decision. That night Lucy made a choice. She would speak, not because she was brave, but because she was tired of being afraid. And because Jake Carter no longer had a voice. Closing of Part 8. Some witnesses lie. Some stay silent. And some almost disappear under the weight of fear. But when the truth is heavy enough, even the quietest voice can shake a courtroom. Lucy Hernandez was ready, and Emily Carter was about to lose the one thing she believed she still had: control.
There is a moment in every true crime case when the investigation ends and judgment begins. For the Carter case, that moment arrived 6 months after Jake Carter was buried beneath his own home. The courtroom would decide what the house had tried to hide. The trial begins. The courtroom in Chicago was full. Journalists, true crime followers, quiet strangers who felt drawn to the story. Emily Carter sat at the defense table, calm, well-dressed, expressionless. She looked nothing like the woman who had buried her husband. Appearances, once again, were doing their job. The prosecution's story. The prosecutor didn't start with blood. She started with control. She described a marriage built on power, not love. She walked the jury through the secret recordings, the threats, the deleted phone, the staged cleanup, the fresh concrete. This was not a moment of panic. This was a sequence of decisions. The video that changed everything. Then the video was played. Jake Carter appeared on the screen. Tired, quiet, afraid. "If you're watching this," he said, "something went wrong." The courtroom went silent. Jake described the fear, the threats, the plan to leave, and his final words. "If anything happens to me, it was not an accident." Some jurors looked down. Others stared at Emily. She didn't move. Emily's defense. The defense argued self-defense. They claimed Jake lost control. They said Emily feared for her life. But fear does not clean blood. Fear does not bury bodies. Fear does not threaten witnesses. Control does. Lucy takes the stand. Lucy Hernandez walked slowly to the witness stand. Her hands shook. Her voice broke. She told the jury everything. The argument. The sound at 2:17 a.m. The blood. The orders. The threats. She said one sentence that stayed with everyone. I didn't help because I wanted to. I helped because I was scared. Fear had 2 victims that night. Detective Mark Wilson testifies. Mark spoke calmly, professionally. He described the evidence, the timeline, the psychology. Then he said something unusual. This case was never about rage, he said. It was about ownership. People shifted in their seats. That word mattered. Emily speaks. Against her lawyer's advice, Emily chose to speak. She said she loved Jake. She said she lost control. She said she was sorry. But she never said one thing. She never said she missed him. And the jury noticed. The verdict. The jury deliberated for less than 5 hours. When they returned, the room stood still. The foreperson spoke clearly. Guilty. Emily Carter showed no emotion. No tears. No shock. Just a slow exhale. She was sentenced to life in prison, with no possibility of parole. After the trial, the house on North Maple Drive was sold, renovated, painted. Families would pass by, without knowing what lay beneath. Lucy moved away, started over. She never returned to that street. Detective Mark Wilson closed the file. But like all true crime cases, it stayed with him. Mark's final reflection. Mark once said in an interview, "The scariest crimes don't happen in dark alleys. They happen in clean houses, with locked doors, and perfect smiles." Jake Carter trusted appearances. That trust cost him his life. The silence after. Today, the house is quiet. No police lights. No reporters. Just silence. But silence doesn't mean peace. It means the truth has finally finished speaking. Final words. Jake Carter tried to leave quietly. He tried to escape control. But control doesn't let go easily. And when it's threatened, it destroys everything. This was not just a murder. It was a warning. Because sometimes, the most dangerous place is the place we call home.